All right, guys, happy Black Friday. The day is here finally, and today we're here with Paul.
Hey, how's it going?
Paul gave up a little bit of his holiday to come over here to my house and join us. I know we've been having some fun with these things, so Paul, what do you think?
I mean, give up, it's a pretty strong word, Terrence. I mean, am I giving up much sitting next to a tank like this?
I appreciate that. Yeah, it is. There are worse places to sit in this house,
Right,
that's for sure.
My favorite place to sit in this house is right here.
Yep. That's one of the things you have built in this little table. But hey, welcome all you guys to Black Friday. I mean, let's not delay what's Black Friday's really about, right? Which is 10% off everything, okay?
Woot.
Oh, look at that. You got camera 2. I've got camera 2 enabled now, so it's a big woot. You guys got to know that it's Black Friday, 10% off everything, but only while it lasts. It's going to happen all the way through next week, but only while it lasts. So make sure that you get into your local fish store. Make sure you go online.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had a lot of local fish stores really stock up for this, huh, Paul?
Yeah. I mean, great support from our local fish stores. I think, we got something that really excited them as well. It's one thing I've noticed on Facebook this year is I think our local fish stores are going all out, right? Like not just with Neptune Systems products, but with, everything.
They're joining in the Black Friday fun.
Yeah, it's great to see that, how that's been kind of always a missing link for us, at least. And this year, I mean, just on everything, I've seen local fish stores just ready for
shout outs to like, we've got, I don't know, Neptune Aquatics.
Neptune Aquatics, I've seen ads. The question I have right now is who haven't I seen ads from?
Right. All around the country. Dallas North Aquarium is another one. Name off another one, Paul.
Top Shelf, I've been seeing them go crazy.
Top Shelf Aquatics down in Orlando, Florida. Obviously, we got Worldwide Corals down there. I don't know what they're doing, but they always have something, whether it's ours or corals or something on Black Friday.
New Wave Aquaria up in Minneapolis.
Absolutely, New Wave Aquaria. And up in the Northeast, who do we have up in the Northeast?
Who do we have up in the
there's
Manhattan
obviously
Aquariums,
Manhattan
right?
Aquariums.
We have a lot of stores in New York, and I don't even know where I can begin with them.
But there's a lot of local fish stores out there, and of course online. There's a bunch of options that you have, and I know those guys are all giving incredible shipping deals. Like I think you can spend, I don't know, $40 with saltwateraquarium.com and you get 2-day shipping.
Free 2-day shipping, so that means on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you will get it on Tuesday. If the order goes in, he may be able to ship it today, but I don't know for sure because he got so many orders. But it's still 2-day shipping. So even if you got the order in today, you'd get it like Wednesday probably. I know also Bulk Reef Supply, they have oodles of everything. Yeah, I said oodles.
Oodles? I like the word oodles. I don't think I've ever heard you use that word before.
Oodles. Okay, yeah. So they have lots of inventory out there. So if you can't find it somewhere else, they probably have it at Bulk Reef Supply. I know they also have free shipping available. Who else do we have? Marine Depot.
Yeah, they've been going crazy too.
So we had Robert on earlier this week in our kickoff broadcast, and Robert talked about these mounting boards that they have.
Yeah, I might actually get one of those. I was thinking about it, and I have something in my office right now that I like, but those are a lot cooler.
Well, and you don't go through the hassle too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to build your own stuff, and a lot of people like to do that. But to have something, you just open it up, take it out of the box. It's more or less ready to go. Yeah. You set those Rust templates on there.
Oh, I know. I love Rust. You know what I mean? Just.
If you haven't seen the templates and you're going to mount your Apex gear, go out to the support site, and they have their PDFs for the modules, for the dose, for the EB832, all of that. Really cool.
He gives you templates for the products like weeks before they even come out, and I'm just like, he's like, hey, so once you get it, here you go.
Yeah,
right?
He geeks out. They got these great lines that go all the way across too.
Yeah.
So when you want to line things up, the lines go all the way to the edge of the paper. So you can line up all your modules.
Put the paper on there, tape it on there, and you'll know exactly.
So if you're a little OCD like we are generally.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, not at all me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, get those. Russ also does the 3D printed stuff too. So you go out to the community forum. Russ really runs that community forum. It's good stuff. So, I mean, I don't know if we have any questions yet, but one of the things I want to make sure you guys know is ask your questions because you got Paul and I both here.
Yep.
Also, I always pick a winner for the live stream. I think I have the winner here. I actually can probably pull it up. Oh, it's probably on my other computer.
Yeah.
I might even let Paul go solo so I can run over to my other computer and let the guy know who won. It's Miller, I think. Steve Miller, but he's a musician, so I don't know if that's him or not.
Yeah.
My FS is kicking off.
Yeah.
You hear that? I don't know if there's any food in it, but it's kicking off right now.
Well, they're ready for it. They're all kind of like, they can hear it. The dinner bell's going off.
Yeah, it's
right?
funny how that is, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's the vibrations in the tank or the noise. But definitely put your questions in your comments, and really want to see you guys win something and win something great. So share this thing right now. Go out and click on the like if you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Share it if you're on Facebook. Just go share this right now on your wall. Get that viewership count up. We're going to be on here for about an hour today. We get that viewership way up there, I'm going to give something great. I gave away an ATK the other day.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to be able to give away a core, and I might even give away an Apex EL if you get the count up there enough, if I feel good about it. So one random person is going to get that. Maybe I'll give 2 other people that will draw some cool swag. We've got the usual things that you see, like the hats and the shirts, and we've got shot glasses. We're gonna talk about some stuff with the shot glasses today too.
Oh yeah. No, I got something special planned for you.
We've got something that Paul put together that's pretty cool. So we're gonna get to that a little bit later in the show. I'm gonna tease it. For now, we're just going to talk a little bit shop, Paul, and talk about the Apex stuff, answer some questions. Let's see if there's anything out here. Sorry, I'm going to look here for guys.
I saw one about the Hydra 26 lighting.
Oh, here it is.
From Russell.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Russell Wilcox, my Hydra 26 LED lighting. Will they work with the Apex? Paul, tell them about that.
Absolutely, it will work with the Apex, and it's very easy to do so. Terrence, if you want to click onto my iPad right now, I'll show them exactly how to do that.
Okay. This is a pretty cool thing, by the way.
Yeah. So we're trying something new. I'm kind of excited. I can actually show you. So you have Hydra 26 lights. They're connected to your Wi-Fi network, right?
Okay, so you went through the setup, right?
Yeah, so your Hydra
AI.
26s are already set up through AI. They're already on your Wi-Fi network. I don't have any here, but if I click on the task button there, okay, and then there is a task for the Hydra 26s, which, because we don't have any, is not there.
Isn't it the IOTA?
You can actually, click on the IOTA.
Paul is winging it here, so.
Oh, winging it for sure. Which is the IOTA?
You got to go to task, go to IOTA.
Yeah. Okay, so click on
Tasks, and then you just didn't scroll down far enough.
There we go. Attach an IOTA device.
So the Hydra 26 and 52 are Internet of Things aquarium compatible.
Yep, so it's already on your network. You just click on next. If I had Hydra 26s here on Terrence's network, we'd select them, we'd click OK and go through. Now, if you do have a Hydra 26 connected to your network and you don't see anything there, head on over to our forum. There's maybe something special you have to do to your router, or some routers just don't support IOTA, right? You're just not going to get it to work. You can get a new router or just can keep controlling them the way you do, but it's nice to have it all in one place. I mean, that's one thing I love about my Apex,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean, and the IOTA thing is something we're continually trying to get the manufacturers to support this. We've got MaxSpec working on stuff. I spoke to Dave Lowry, obviously at Reefapalooza, and they've got the dongle, which I tried to get him to change to module, the name of it, but they call it dongle.
We talked about this before, not our favorite word.
Yes, and so they got the dongle that's going to hook up into their K-Link, connector of these new A360Xs. And they're implementing IOTA into that. They've got all the information. I know their engineers are working on it. Last I heard, they're saying early Q1 they're going to have it available for people in the module, in the dongle, ready to go. And you'll enable those the same way that Paul just did it through the tasks.
I got to say we love our control freaks. I love that when I've seen people talking about the 360X on there, one of the first questions that's getting asked is, will this work with my Apex? Can I swap out my A360 for this? And will it work with my Apex in the 0 to 10 volt? Those are the questions that we need you guys asking.
Yeah,
right?
and just let the Kessel guys know. I mean, we immediately got a ton of people when they introduced this awesome light, because it's a really great light. I mean, the initial 350 was great years ago. Then they came out with the 360. That was awesome. We have literally thousands and thousands of people connected those to their Apexes. So, of course, when they came out with the 360X, all those guys that wanted to upgrade said, hey, does this connect to the Apex? And they're like, no, it doesn't. So we went to them and said, guys, we've got IoT. We got you covered. Get this implemented in your Wi-Fi thing, and then all you guys will be able to enjoy that.
Yep. And Devin, you asked why IOTA doesn't support multicast. Devin Rich asked that.
Okay.
And why IOTA doesn't work on some routers. It's called multicast. Some routers either don't do it or just don't do a good job with it.
Okay.
So it's just the router. Some routers support it, some routers don't.
Okay, let's see. Is there another question here? You see anything, Paul? Can you read it from there?
It's a little bit far for these eyes, Terrence.
Okay, here's one. Maybe it's a little technical. Chris Chicognani. Sorry, I really screwed that name up.
You didn't say that right, I can guarantee you.
How do I set up my 4 MP40s on the WXM to turn 2 off for a while and run all 4 and then run the other 2? A couple of things I want you to show here, Paul. I'm going to click back over to the just to the dashboard. If not, you can talk about this. You don't have to show anything with this necessarily. But one of the things that I wanted to have Paul show you guys is schemes, because I know this came up. I mentioned it in a live stream last night. I didn't have the demo set up to show you, so I want Paul to show you that, because it somewhat relates to what Chris is asking, because once Chris figures this out, he can now share it with other people, all the people on this live stream, and they'll have the solution to this. So let me go click over so we can see Paul's iPad again. So there's Paul.
So I don't have a tank right now with any MP40s, but the same hypothetical situation will apply to all pumps. So the wave pump would be an excellent example. It works in a very similar way to the MP40. Okay. All right. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and head over to our wave. All right, and now we're on the outlet here. This is my wave configuration. Okay. All right, it's on my 34-gallon tank. I just want to point that out. I do have a wave on a 34-gallon Red Sea 170 tank.
That's how many gallons?
34 gallons, Terrence.
So you have a 4,000 gallon per hour power head on a 34-gallon tank.
Yes.
And they said it couldn't be done.
They said it couldn't be done, and it works great. Now, I made some good decisions in terms of how to set that up.
Yeah, you're not going to have sugar fine sand and do that in a 34-gallon.
No. So no sugar fine sand. I do have sand in the tank. I also have a lot of calcium reactor media, Reborn, right? Keeps my calcium super saturated in that tank,
and the sand just kind of falls below it.
The sand falls below it.
So when you get a lot of circulation, it doesn't blow the sand up.
It doesn't blow any of the sand up, and I'm heavily SPS dominated, right? So a lot of SPS in there.
So you can have tons of flow. It's not going to tear up a lot of tissue like on an LPS.
No. And the way I do that, guys, is I put it on the back wall. Okay, I know I'm kind of going off here.
It's okay.
But I kind of put it on the back wall.
I love talking about our products.
You know, I put it on the back wall. So here's the sides of the tank, right? I put it on the back wall, and I point the wave.
Keep going.
I point the wave right towards that side part of the tank, okay? And then what happens is, you can see I have my wave.
Do you need a prop?
I have my wave percentage there, roughly at about 20, 30% at times. You know, during pulse mode, I get up to almost 40%. But I have it basically pointed right towards that side glass. It hits that side glass, takes all the momentum, and then just creates this gyre in the tank that's fantastic.
And you barely see it back there.
Oh, you don't even see it at all. It's completely
you have to kind of look for it, especially when you get the coral and algae growing and everything. It like camouflages it.
And I have that pointed up a little bit, so the gyre kind of goes like this, and then I have another pump on the other side, not a wave, right? But I have that low just to push the water back up again. So we get something coming around. Anyways, to answer Chris's question, the way you would do that, right, is just to set it up. You basically want to go into, click on this, hold on, I got this great button here so you can see my touches. So you want to click on that configuration gear, all right? Then you want to go over to advanced, okay? You can see here I already have a bunch of stuff going on, but if I wanted to turn one off, right, I could do that with a feed cycle or something like that.
Okay.
Okay? Then on my second pump, the pump that I wanted to wait for a little while, okay? I can put a defer statement in there, right, and wait, let's say 2 minutes. Okay, so I put defer 2 minutes, then
so let's go back to his question, and let's review his question. His question was, I have 4 MP40s, right? I want to have them all on, and then some of them I want to have 2 off at one time or another. That was the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you wanted 2 of them to be off, just periodically, so you basically just want to have flow on one side of the tank, the way you would actually do that is you'd use a scary statement called an oscillation statement.
You're on the wrong line.
Yes, oscillation statement. Okay, and let's say you wanted to have them off for 5 minutes every 10 minutes, right? You'd do 0 /5 /5. And what that's saying is turn off for 5 minutes, then turn off, and then you do a then off.
I'm going to take this a step further for you, which I think is even easier to do this because I don't get the programming. So what I do is I create a virtual outlet, and in that virtual outlet, I actually choose the pump wizard, which writes this code for me, right? And I say I want on for this, off for that, and I do that on the virtual outlet. And now in what Paul was putting in there, you basically just do if that outlet is on, you know, or then off, or however it's going to go, reverse or otherwise. Is that right? Does that work that way?
It would work. So you could go to power head right there in the power head wizard,
Right.
and you could also set it up exactly like this. You know,
Right.
I just kind of freehanded it. I can't help myself.
Right, and if you hit the advanced, you'll see the same code.
Right, and then, you know, what Terrence asked was, well, you know, okay, after you figure that out, you can save it, all right, and you save it.
This is the schemes.
Okay, so you save it by hitting this this forward button. Okay, we're going to call this, you know, I'll just call this Paul's, you know, 170. All right.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. So there's two big reasons to do this, right? The first one is, hey, I want to experiment, but I don't want to have to remember what my experiments were or what it was when it was running the way I liked it and I wanted to improve it. So before you start monkeying around, you go save one and you save it just for yourself, okay? So that you can go back to it.
So you have this private option here, private or public.
All right.
Okay, so if I wanted to share this with other people, I could make this public. If I wanted to make this private, I could just keep it for myself.
And then you can give it a name and say original config or whatever you want so that you save that for yourself, and then you can go do your experiment, save your experiment, and you can flip back and forth between them.
Yeah, and you can just, you know, maybe make this note that says testing if you're doing private or something like that.
And then once you get it worked out and you're like, you know what, I'd really like to share this with all these people that are on the live stream, you just go ahead and set it to public, you put in what kind of tank you have, et cetera. And then only people, though, that are going to have your particular type of device will see that. That's the other thing to really understand is
only people with waves or only people with vortex would see your scheme. To load somebody else's scheme, you're going to click on this download button here, okay? And you can go to Discover, all right? And you can see, hey, there's a lot of people running waves out there, and you can see what kind of tank they have, you know, if other people gave it a thumbs up, all those sorts of different
Like put in my name and username. Maybe I have one that's out there.
You probably do, Terrence,
Probably.
if I had to guess.
See, look, it says my left wave.
Oops.
It's okay. You can call me Teresa.
You've been called worse, right?
That's enough. You can see it now.
Yeah.
You just hit the down keyboard there, buddy. I'm going to drive you
right.
right there. So there you can see. So you can see some of my my setup. You just go in. If you have a wave, and you can see how I've got at one time. I don't know that I'm running that exact one right now.
So there's Terrence's left wave, hypothetically.
Exactly, which would be on this side up there.
And I'm not going to click update that on that for my tank.
Yeah, exactly. It would go crazy in your tank. Anyway, that's schemes. So definitely something you guys should take a look at and play around with. If not, just to save your own stuff when you want to not worry about messing something up, or if you want to share something. Another really good one that I mentioned last night is if you happen to have radions. The AB Plus stuff is saved in there from a lot of people already.
I'll pull up my radion real quick.
Oh, there you go. So Paul's got a radion, so you can go in and look, and then you can probably go in under the scheme name and type AB in there, and probably something will come up. Coral Lab AB Plus, the first one that's there.
Yep. The down
Yeah.
button's not working too well. There we go.
There
so
we
now
are.
all the ones that are AB and everyone's little variation.
Yeah,
of
they might
AB.
be a little bit different, so you can go take a look at it, open one up, look at it before you load it, and there you go. All right, let's see if there's another question in here. I did have one, and oh, here it is. This is the one I wanted to take. Well, wait a second here. Let me go back to us on full screen here. We'll get rid of Chris's, and this is one I get all the time, so I will answer this one. Manuel Daksha says, I wanted to get the FMM, but then I couldn't find the flow sensors for a 3/4 inch pipe. Any 3/4 inch sensors available in the future? My return pump is plumbed on a 3/4 inch PVC return pipe. So the answer to this question is we really decided not to have a flow sensor for every single pipe size that we have. It was just going to be too many SKUs, and it's also somewhat redundant because all you need to do if you have 3/4 inch is get the 1 inch flow sensor, which comes in the flow monitoring kit, by the way, which, by the way, is 10% off today.
Oh, is that 10% off? I had no idea.
And then you just get yourself a couple of standard 1 inch to 3/4 inch bushing reducers. Put those on in either end of the unions that come with it, right? Because we supply the unions with that. And now it'll fit the 3/4 inch. And the added benefit of this is if you can upsize, it's always better because you are going to get a little bit of flow reduction in a flow sensor, but you're going to get less flow reduction if you would upsize. So We get the same question for people who say, I've got 1.25 inch or I've got 1.5 inch pipe. What flow sensor do I use? That's why we have the 2-inch flow sensor. So you get the 2-inch flow sensor, you stick the proper bushing into those unions, 1.25 inch, and now you're flowing that.
And Terrence, those reducers are really common.
Yeah, they're
right?
super cheap at Home
So
Depot.
you go to Home Depot, whatever, it's not one of those ones where, you know, oh, I got to order it from some
Right.
boutique place online. You just get a 2-inch to 1.5 inch reducer, you're done.
And that's why we put the unions in with the product, so that because the product does have the British standard pipe threads on the actual flow sensor, we've included as part of the kit all the unions you need.
And you know, if I can also kind of expand on this, a lot of people says, well, I want to go over to you know, flexible hose, right? So that's really easy too. All you have to do, if you're, let's say you're on 1 inch, right, is just get a 1-inch barb nozzle.
Oh, the barbs.
Yeah, put that right in with a cup. You put a little bit of 1-inch PVC. Add the female, right, 1 inch.
The female
barb,
to barb, 1
and,
inch.
you know, and you don't even say, well, some people say, well, it takes up too much room then. You need that much PVC to come off that, guys, right? It really doesn't add that much room after the unions.
Right, for sure. And if you botch something on the unions, we do have those for sale on the Neptune store.
Yep.
And I think they're really, really reasonable. I can't remember off the top of my head what they cost, but I think that the 2-inch ones might cost, I don't know what, something like $20 or something.
I think they're $20 to $30.
$20 to $30.
I know the 1-inch unions are $10.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, these are prices that are really common.
Those are Home Depot prices.
Yes.
For those unions.
Those unions weren't very easy to get, were they, Terrence?
No. In fact, if you try to get a Spears British standard pipe thread to 2-inch US slip, it's going to be somewhere between $50 and $85. I found online for one of those from Spears. So definitely, if you need to get them, we've got them available. Let's see, what other questions? I tell you what, let's do this. We'll take some more questions here in a minute. I'm going to talk about the Apex because, again, today is 10% off, which a lot of people might think, hey, it's only 10%. When do we have these things on sale?
Never.
Especially online, never. Occasionally we do a special event at a local fish store or at a trade show, and you might get lucky. There's a very limited amount of inventory available, and you might get lucky and get a discount. Outside of that, there's never a discount all year long. No. Everywhere you go, it's going to be the same price. So if you're going to get one, right now's the time. On an $800 Apex, you're going to get it for $720.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to actually go through this with you guys. And for those of you that knows what comes with the Apex, you're going to get bored. But I'm going to go through this as easily as I can without dropping something onto the floor. This is what you get in the package. Let's get that towards the camera a little bit more. And again, this is the US version. If you're international, it is a little bit different in terms of the energy bar, but in terms of everything else, it's exactly the same.
Exactly.
And this is the Apex. This is not the Apex EL. I'll go over that in a second too. So first of all, this is the Apex itself, right? This is what we happen to call the base unit. And this is where you connect everything up. So on the bottom here, we have a connection that's called the Aquabus connection. It looks like a USB. That's what connects together all of our modules. So every one of the things, the accessories that you get, can connect up to Aquabus. Then the next connectors that we have are connectors for probes. So we have pH, we have ORP, we have a salinity, which comes from conductivity probe, right? And then we have temperature. Those are the 4 things that it measures. And you'll notice over here, we've got all 4 of those probes. That's what you get with it. So you get the ORP, or sorry, the pH, I'm looking at this in reverse, the pH, the ORP, the salinity, and the temperature probe. This flips up so that you can have access to these in your cabinet very easily. And also, what's really cool about it, why is it all pointing down, Paul?
Why is it all pointing down, Terrence?
Water.
Yes.
So you don't want these connections getting wet. So although it might look interesting to mount this way, maybe for some people they don't have space, you don't want to do it because you get the water, it's going to go into those connectors. It's the #1 way people ruin their Apexes. Even people who say, my Apex isn't underneath the tank, it's far away from the tank. And somebody splashes on a cable, on a wire, it runs right down the highway, right into it. So you want to mount it this way, for sure. So these are the probes. We've talked in the last couple of days about those. I'm hoping I'm not going to have this whole thing fall out on me. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. So those are the probes. We've already talked about those quite a bit. Now I'm going to get down to the energy bar. I'll put this aside. because this is also one of the really cool parts of the Apex, and this comes in both the Apex regular edition and the Apex EL. It's called the Energy Bar 832, and it's called that. Why, Paul?
Because it has 8 120-volt outlets. It has 3 one-link ports, 2 DC-24, so it has 11 outputs all in all.
11?
8 plus 3 plus 2. Wow. 13.
Too much?
Let me drink my coffee.
That's so funny, Paul. 13 total outlets, okay? And how many amps are there? 7 amps for each one.
Yes.
Every one of these is an actual physical relay, right?
Yeah, and the best part about those, Terrence, what is it?
Of these outlets? Power monitoring.
Yes, and power monitoring for me is, bar none, the best reason to upgrade to a new Apex, all right? Because you know, a lot of these devices, you know, are very mission critical devices.
Can you show some of that?
Yeah, things like your return pump, things like your you know, your skimmer, your heater, and the power consumption on those devices is very important, right? And when the power is not operating the way it normally does, the Apex has the ability to say, hey, this should be on, it's not consuming the normal amount of power that it usually does, and it can send you an alert. And it's really easy to set those up, Terrence.
So, to take this, while Paul's doing that and going to someplace, the way that you would use this, for instance, is let's say on a skimmer. Skimmer has an air input on it. Skimmer also has, you know, the volute on it that gets clogged. And the pump will actually run at a different performance level if it's running air or not running air.
Exactly, yeah.
Or a return pump. If a return pump gets dirty, gets blocked, or whatever, the power consumption will be completely different.
Right.
Paul, go ahead and take them through it.
So I just clicked on my task, right? I'm going to click on the power usage alarm. All right, and it gives you a little description of what it says the use of this is. All right, and I can select, you know, any of my outlets here. I'll go ahead and select my skimmer power because that's what Terrence did. And my skimmer is basically always on. You know, I shut it off occasionally during feed cycles, but the Apex is actually smart enough to know when that it's off and doesn't factor that power consumption into this recommendation here.
So basically, let me slow you down because I'm going to take it back because I'm a little bit slower. So what happens is the Apex is watching your gear while it's running. So it needs like 24 hours probably to model this.
Run it for a week or so.
Okay.
You know?
And it's going to find basically where normal is for you, so you don't have to know that.
Yeah, exactly. And the times that you normally program it off, it's not going to factor that power usage in. So can anyone guess how much my skimmer normally runs?
Wow, that's a pretty tight range.
Yeah, 28 watts is how much my skimmer always runs. Okay, and it basically always runs this amount. I do a good job at keeping it clean and stuff like that. That's pretty narrow in my opinion, so I'll probably go ahead and just bump that up a
reason
little
Paul's doing that is because you want to get a false alarm.
I hate false alarms. Things that wake me up.
This is a very good point on setting any of your alarm values. Is if you have something too tight, you're going to get a lot of alarms, and then what you're going to do is what, Paul?
I'm sorry.
You're going to ignore them, like you're ignoring me. So you're going to ignore those alarms, because what's going to happen is that you're going to be seeing them so often that you're tired of it, and you know, like me, I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm like, I could go edit that, but you know what? I'm just tired right now, and so I turn that alarm off, and then I forget that I've turned it off.
Yeah.
And then something bad happens. So opening up the range a little bit, it's a good idea.
Yeah. And so, you know, you just basically do that, right? And so now anytime that my skimmer is running less than 25 watts or more than 31 watts, I'll get an alert on that. It won't send me an alert when I run my feed cycle and I turn my skimmer off anyways, because the Apex knows that it's off, and it should be off, and it shouldn't be consuming power.
Can you show a graph, the power graphs?
Yeah, no problem.
Go from the dashboard, and let's look at the dashboard and the EB832. Any one of those that you want to, that you can flip through. So there's multiple views on the 832, so you can see all the outlets. You can see in real time what they're consuming. You can see over time what they are, and then you can go into a graph and actually see what the power is using. You can even put in your cost for electricity. You can identify components of your tank that cost way more than you thought they did to run, and so you might think, you know what, I really don't want to spend $26 a month running my UV. Do I get $26 a month of value out of my UV? Maybe I only want to run it half the time. That's what I did once I saw what it cost. So it's definitely it's a great tool to use on this power utilization. That is not obviously available. It's not on the one link or on the other two DC-24 connections that are on here. But what's really cool about the one link connection, I'm going to move on, Paul, to the next thing about this. Let me go back to our full view here. So what's really neat about these connections, you heard me talking about the wave pump yesterday and before. This is where you plug in that wave pump. So if you saw me holding that pump and you saw the connector and probably thought, well, maybe there's something else it plugs into. No, it just plugs right into here.
I love not having those power supplies.
Yeah.
Right? Like every DC device that I use has a power supply.
Right.
When I'm doing cable management for one of our clients or something like that, cable management I don't like at all, but I'm somehow obsessed with it. I don't know.
Right.
But when I don't have to worry about power supplies because the dose doesn't need one, the wave doesn't need one. If I'm running a Core 15, I don't need one. I mean, that's 3, 4, 5 less power supplies for my setup, and it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier.
More, you know, you got the fail-safe issue of water going into those power supplies.
Yes.
The heat issues of the power supplies. And really, that's why, you know, the cost is now, I mean, on Black Friday Day, it's less than $160 today for each one of these, because we also don't have to include a power supply with them.
Yep.
So we're able to bring the cost down. You know, if any of the other pumps that are out there, they have to pay for that power supply. Some of them, if they've got Wi-Fi built in, have to pay for Wi-Fi for every one of those. So they're burdened with a lot more cost, and you don't really get any more benefit out of having that extra power supply or having a Wi-Fi built into it.
I mean, what's the point of having the Wi-Fi built in if your tank's 6 feet long, guys?
Right,
You know?
exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's one more cable that you have to basically manage.
And one more thing to come unsynced.
There's a power cord going from the driver to the pump anyways. Right? So I mean, you have a cable either way. So why do you pay for wireless on it? I've just never understood.
For sure, for sure. And so, yeah, you can plug 3 of those in there. You can also plug a dose in there. So there's a cable that plugs directly into the dose. So I know Randy on BRS kind of fudged this one a little bit the other day because somebody asked them, can you run a dose on an Apex Classic? And his answer was, yeah, you can get a 1-link, because he's so used to running the dose on a 1-link. He's spoiled because he's running only the newer stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the dose actually comes with an Aquabus cable and a power supply, so you can run that one. But if you happen to have this, you can just run that cable directly into here. You run one cable to the dose, again, less power supply. So it's really, really handy to do. And then those other 2 ports you can use for things like, you can use the PMUP pump that we have. You can use a solenoid valve. So if you want to do water control from your RODI, you can do all of those things, all with the 832. It's got a cool mounting on it. Russ has got the mounting templates for this, of course.
There.
You can obviously put more than one of these on your tank if you want. So if you already have an Apex and you want to upgrade, now's the time again to do it, because you're going to get 10% off on.
And you can keep running your classic energy bar too.
Yes.
Right? So nothing's happening to
That's a good point.
If you're doing the upgrade to either the Apex or the Apex L.
This is a really good point. So if you are someone who you know, wants to upgrade, and you bought the Apex Gold back in the day, you already have a PM2, right, with salinity on it, right? And maybe you don't use the ORP, or it doesn't matter to you. And so you're like, okay, well, and I don't use 0 to 10, or I'm willing to spend $100 for the module. I go to the Apex EL, it's $450 right now, and you get one of these, and all your existing stuff, all your modules, your Energy Bar 8s, your Energy Bar 4s, all of those things are all going to work with the new Apex.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a real no-brainer. You know, just given the power of that power monitoring, it's just one of the most valuable features in the new Apex that, you know, I can't say no to.
So let me grab something else I've got over here that I forgot to pull out. Let's see, I've got. Oh, maybe I don't. All right.
It's a bag of tricks.
Yeah, I got a bag of tricks. But I was going to pull out an Apex EL, but I couldn't find it over there. Anyway, Apex EL looks different because it's gray on the bottom instead of orange. And it doesn't have this last row of connectors. That's how you'll tell the difference. And it's $450. The main difference is you don't get the ORP probe. You don't get the ORP port, so you can't add it later into the base unit. You can add a PM1. And you don't get the variable speed connectors.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is a lot of people who use those variable speed connectors use them for things that are now moving to IOTA.
Yeah.
So if you are going to use the Kessel A360X or the Hydra 26 or what have you, you don't need those 0 to 10 for those.
No, I mean the 0 to 10 is kind of the old way to be Apex ready.
Correct.
You know, the new way to be Apex ready is to be IOTA.
And so if you have an aquarium product that runs with Wi-Fi, and you think that they should, you know, make it work with be Apex ready with IOTA, then you contact that manufacturer and tell them, let them know, and they'll get in contact with us.
Yep, we have a protocol we can give them. It works really well.
Let's see if we got a question here, Paul. Did you see any in there that looks good to you? Give me the person's name. Anything?
Scott's got to look on. Is there a way to alert if you don't have an EB832?
Okay, where's this?
Right there. Scott Caster, Van Caster there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. That's your answer.
Yeah, yeah. So
you asked for the question.
So Scott, it is possible, right? So on the classic energy bar, so the Energy Bar 4, which is our heavy duty energy bar, this will be good for running that 1,000-watt heater that you maybe want to run. It might be good for that half horsepower chiller, that third horsepower chiller. It has a 12-amp circuit in there, so sometimes you do need that heavy duty power bar,
okay.
right? Typically though, but you can't determine any specific outlet if it's consuming power. But the way that those are typically going to stop working is the circuit breaker is going to trip that power bar is plugged into. You know, your half horsepower chiller, it clicks on, but you know, rather than its normal 30 watts, it pulls on startup. Let's say if it pulls 50 watts, it trips the circuit breaker. Yeah, that inrush current was higher than it should have been. You can make a statement in your email alarm outlet that says, if power, all right, EB4 _3, you know, which is the name of the module.
That's the module name, right?
000, then off, then on, right?
Okay.
So I said that a little bit wrong. It was then off, 00, then on.
Okay.
Right? And what that does, right, is it will be able to sense that there is no power on the EB4.
On that whole EB4.
On that EB4 and send you an alert based on that.
Good answer. Excellent. All right. Remember, guys, try to go ahead and push this out there. We're still going to be online for at least 20 minutes more, so share this.
Only 20 minutes left.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, this is just
But I'll make it go long.
Oh.
I can do that. There's nobody in the house right now. We kicked them all out so that we can do the live stream. They're out doing their Black Friday shopping, so we've got the whole house to ourselves. So if we want to go a little long and you guys want it, we can do that.
Do you want to show off?
Let's see here. We're going to get there, Paul. We're going to tease it up. Paul's got something he's just itching to show you guys. Let's see. Oh, I know one. I saw one earlier, and I'm not going to go back and try to find it, but somebody asked, I've got $2,000 worth of stuff queued up in my cart, basically. Yeah, exactly. I know it's the thing to do. I just got to convince the wife. So I'm gonna tell you exactly how to convince the wife. The number one way to convince the wife.
This guy's good at this. He's really good at this.
So you already have the aquarium, or even you're just jonesing to get it, and you're going to have to convince the wife for the Apex as part of the initial build. It's the leak detection kit. The number one fear the wife has, they don't care about your animals, they don't care about whether or not your corals are going to grow, they don't care about any of that. The only thing the wife or the significant other, right, really cares about is what's going to happen in my house, because this is your hobby, it's not my hobby, okay? And this is our house, and if your hobby infringes on our house, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And we're talking about leaking on floors, hardwood floors. So leak detection kit, absolutely. Lead with the leak detection kit, okay? Don't lead with, honey, this is gonna control my whole aquarium, okay? It's gonna be, honey, your worst fears have been answered. I've got something that's going to keep us from having a leak in the house that's going to destroy the house. As the minute it gets a leak, it doesn't matter where we are in the world, we're going to get a notification. And we can shut things off. We can do all sorts of things based on that leak, so you don't have anything to worry about. And then you slide in, but you got to have this Apex thing with it.
Yeah. You have to have the Apex thing. And it's other things too. If you travel a lot, honey, I know you don't want to mess with this while I'm out of town.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
That's a good one too.
This takes care of everything.
That's a good one too, because they, the whole, hey, can you go look at this? Hey, can you, FaceTime this and that so I can tell what this is, and put this, temperature probe into the tank so I can see what the temperature, no.
I mean, and ultimately, once the tank is in there, it's going to be something that the family bonds over anyways, right? But it's just getting over that.
50% of the time.
It has to get over this initial hump, right?
For sure, this is the one that is the biggest one out there, which is, it's not whether or not, this is not going to be a hobby for you in a year. It's all about what's going to happen to our home. For sure, 100%.
Exactly.
Robert Miller, I think Robert Miller, you're the one that won yesterday, quite frankly. He says he's tried those on her and it didn't work. So I'm going to check that name, but I'm pretty sure it is Robert Miller. I said Steve Miller, but I'm pretty sure it's Robert Miller that won yesterday online. I think I had it down as an AFS. Yeah, an AFS. So
Sweet.
Robert Miller.
Well, you got the AFS now,
AFS.
Robert. You got to get the Apex to use it.
Yeah, if you don't already have an Apex, please. Now you've got to. Honey, I won this thing. I can't use it. Without that. All right, so here's the fun we're going to have. So when I told Paul, I said, Paul, we're going to do a live stream on Black Friday. And I can tell you he wasn't super enthused about it, especially because it's like, I got to come out to your place to do it. I'm like, yeah, we'll have fun.
Yeah.
We'll have fun. So Paul started noodling on it, not oodling, noodling on it, and said, Terrence, I got this great idea for something fun to do, and we can work it into kind of a demo of the Apex gear. And one of the things, you know, when I started these Let's Talk Reefs, one of the reasons was we do a lot of outreach when we're at the trade shows.
Yeah.
And a lot of people see us at trade shows, and we have a ton of fun. And one of the things we do at the trade shows that everybody asks us, are we doing it at this trade show or that one? So sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't bring it out.
Yeah.
Is the drink mixer.
Yes, the dose as the
Look at this.
liquid bartender. All right, so you know, in the holiday spirit, we decided to go with Nog.
Awesome.
Right, Nog and my preference of bourbon, but we can make the dose a liquid bartender. Okay.
We've done it. We do it with we have these shots, right? We do.
Yeah.
Margarita shots or daiquiri shots.
I think we did hurricane
shots
in
when
New
we were
Orleans.
New Orleans
Yeah,
Magna.
yeah.
So we're going to do Nog shots, isn't that right?
Nog shots, yeah. And then,
Okay.
you know, I'll kind of show you a way, a task that you can kind of do this with.
Okay.
And then I actually made a whole video on how to do liquid feeding with your dose. And maybe you're not going to make a liquid bartender like we are today.
Or
right?
they will.
Or they will, which is totally
I
cool.
hope they will. Put another one in your cart.
It's
okay,
totally worth
I'm going to stop you. I got to do my sales thing before he even demos. So we're going to be showing off the dose and the DDR. And in one of my previous live streams in this holiday, I mentioned that I think this is probably the best deal on all Neptune stuff through the holidays. So the dose normally is $300. The DDR with the 2 optical sensors and everything, high quality polished acrylic handmade, that is normally $200. When you buy them together, normally in the store, we do give a discount already of about 10%, right?
Yeah.
Which is $450. So that stands, but then you get to basically layer on top of that the Black Friday 10%, and now for $400, you're getting a dose and a DDR.
20% off.
Yeah, it's basically effectively like 20% off. So the key here is if you already have an Apex and maybe you do want to have a bartender, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
Paul.
One quick thing I will mention, though, you'll notice that we did not put the bourbon inside our DDR.
Yes.
Terrence, why is that?
So acrylic and alcohol generally do not mix well. And this was found out very early on as people tried to use no-pox in their DDRs, and it will craze. It will crack and craze.
Initially, it doesn't spill, but if you were to leave it in there over time,
eventually dissolve.
it's going to dissolve the acrylic entirely. So we decided to, sometimes we'll sacrifice a DDR.
Well, yeah, at the shows we'll sometimes sacrifice one. The other thing you can do too is there is a dilution ratio. I don't know what it is that'll make it not happen. Or Paul actually had a really great idea the other day, which is just go ahead and put some sort of a bladder in there, like a little plastic bag or something, if you want to use the Wild Turkey 101 or something like that. You know?
So I'll go ahead and serve us a drink, and then I'll kind of explain the theory of how you can do that. All right.
I'm going to put aside my coffee.
Do you want to go over to the iPad?
Yep, I'm going to right now.
I'm doing?
Yep. I'm just trying to get myself ready for that. All right, so Paul is now
All right, so
there.
I got my Nog and my bourbon outlet.
Now, just so you guys know, we do have these cool little swag shot glasses. These are from New Orleans, okay? We have some more of these still in the storeroom, right, Paul? So,
in the vaults?
Yeah, in the vault. Yeah. So we are going to give away some of these as swag to some of the people here on this live stream if you don't have one. And, who knows, maybe Paul once in a while will throw one into a Neptune store. He does the Neptune store for all of the replacement parts and things like that as we get rid of them. But these are definitely collector's items. This is what we're going to be using today.
All right, so I'm just going to click on Feed A.
Oh.
All right.
Here it comes.
And then here comes the dose. I have this mix. I have them mixing simultaneously here. So the line is clear, right? Because if you have refrigerated needs, maybe like Fido or Oyster Feast, you can put it back inside the
So
bottle.
what you're saying is after it doses me, my drink, my beverage here, you've measured the distance on the tubes and everything so that you basically can back out all of that liquid out of there and clear the lines.
Exactly.
So I know in the thing that Paul did that he's going to make a link available on this live stream after the fact. One of the things he did was talk about how you can use this in a dorm fridge, right? All right, so here's the first one.
A little full there, a little full.
Paul, you trying to get me a little happy here?
Yeah. And
so you notice it layers?
That's because you really need to mix nog and...
So we've got a little floating action here. There's actually a drink you can make, guys. You can go look it up. It's kind of cool. It's called a jellyfish. Mm-hmm. And it plays on the layering thing, and then it uses grenadine on the top. And as you eyedropper the grenadine into the drink, it makes little tendrils. So I'm going to do a little mix here. But you know what? I'm going to throw it back anyway because, you know, it is Black Friday.
Wait for mine, okay?
I'm waiting for
you.
And
I'm cheating, guys. I'm bringing the bourbon down.
Oh, Paul does have to drive home. I don't. So definitely, this is a cool thing to do, and we love doing this at the trade shows, and the people love it too.
And as this is running too, I mean, nog is a pretty viscous solution, Terrence, and you can see that the dose is having no trouble with that, right? So it can pull. So that's one of the great things about the diameter of the dose tubing. It's 4 millimeters, right?
Okay.
And most dosing systems have very thin and wouldn't be able to handle the viscosity of something like Oyster Feast or Rada Feast or even Mises Feast for that matter. You know.
Oh, Paul, man, you gonna be able to handle this?
Yeah.
He dropped it.
I'm a.
This is what kind of bourbon are we drinking?
We're drinking Booker's.
Booker's. Okay.
Top shelf for our nog.
It's a serious nog. And we're going to actually toast to all of our control freaks, all of our customers. Again, you guys go out there, support all the local fish stores, support the online stores. You know, make it happen. We're definitely here to help you. Well, Paul's helping me mix this thing up so I don't get nailed with it. I like the tip on my dose, my new drink mixer, trying it today. Neil Thomas, good deal.
Good, Neil. You'll
Here
see
we go.
my video later.
This is all of you guys, okay?
Not bad.
Woo!
Not bad.
Nicely done.
I love Booker's. One of my favorites.
Wow, that is smooth.
That
is
smooth.
Good. All right, that one was for you guys.
Yeah. So the kind of an easy way to set this up, if you only want to do it, is to use a great task that we have.
So now we get to see if Paul can follow his own instructions after he's had a shot of nog.
I'm not. So the way to actually do it, I did there, right? The pulling out, the clearing the line. It's rather involved, but I did make about an 8-minute video on how to do that. I walk you through. You're going to use something we normally don't use a lot in the Apex anymore, profiles.
Okay.
And I help you figure out if you have a lot of length of tubing, how much prime time.
This is definitely like probably a 300 level course.
It's 300 level, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I take you through that nice and well, in my opinion, nice and.
You can always hit pause.
Yeah, you can hit pause, and I kind of scened everything too. So as I do each step, you can kind of see as I go to a new scene, and you can kind of pause it as you kind of digest what I just gave you in the scene previously.
Well, what are you gonna show us now?
But great thing to show off here is just the dose manual water change.
Okay.
It's very similar to what we just did.
So hold on a second. So the manual water change. So some people have the ability to have their water jugs, their water storage available for ongoing water change.
Yes.
And other people would just like to go, you know what? I just need to do a water change. I don't want to haul these big hoses around. And I've got a big long tube that goes to my dose. I got the dose, in the garage or what have you. I bring the tube in, I put it in my tank, I put the tube in that's going to pull the water out. And then we run this task. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to hit a feed button, right?
Yes.
And then it's going to do whatever amount of water you say over a day or over a period of time.
Over a period of time. Right?
So you can tell it whatever period of time you want.
Right. It's over a day, so it doesn't go longer than a day, right? But you can make that water change happen a little bit more quickly than just the whole day.
And it's up to, what, like 30 gallons or something like that?
I think it's 30 gallons.
Okay.
It takes you through this setup on how to do all that. But essentially, you set the dose up, you set your water containers up, you push a button, and you forget about it.
Okay.
Right? And so this is kind of how you want to set that up. All right. You'll notice you have from the tank, you have a line going in, and the pump's going to run reverse and all that.
Okay.
You select one of your doses. Let me select, nope. So I'll select this one. For now, I don't want to adjust any of this stuff, right? So I'll keep that there. And I can attach it to a certain feed cycle.
Okay.
So let's say I want to, maybe I'm already using feed D.
Okay.
So maybe I'll select feed C there. And then I can put the volume of solution that I want to do.
This is the amount total that's going to happen in this manual water change.
So let's say we wanted to have the dose do 20-gallon water change that day. Okay. And then if you have sensors, so if you want to put a
Oh,
sensor
this is really cool.
In the new saltwater reservoir or the old saltwater
I'm going to stop you and
reservoir.
sell for a second,
Okay.
if you don't mind, if you can hold
Please.
that thought.
You know I love that.
So the sensors that we have these optical sensors that you can either screw them in, like drill a hole in a container, or you can use a magnetic one. And these optical sensors go into the FMM module. Now what's really neat is that you don't have to buy that module separate if you have some of the other kits that utilize it. So I talked earlier about the flow monitoring kit, right? That flow monitoring kit comes with 3 flow monitoring sensors, right? 1 inch and 2 1/2 inch. And then guess what? The FMM, even if you use those 3, has 1 more sensor port free that you could use. You could plug one of these optional optical sensors in.
A leak detection.
Leak detection. Leak detection kit comes with 2 leak detection probes, which is the common use, 1 on either side of the tank. And now you've got 2 free ports on there. So you can use optical sensors on those. What's the third one? The automatic top-off kit, right? So the automatic top-off kit has a high and a low sensor with 2 free open sensor ports on the FMM.
Yep.
That you can put these optional sensors in. Now, why you would want to do this? Well, if you have a bin, let's say, that you're going to put the dirty water in, or you've got a bin that's got the clean water in, you can use 2 sensors, right, Paul?
Yes.
So you put one sensor, say, in the bottom in the top of the dirty water bin, and you put one in the bottom of the clean water, or the new water bin. And now, if for some reason you got something wrong, like how much water you have in there, or that you forgot to dump the dirty water bin, or it only holds 20 and you set this up for 30-gallon water change, it'll shut off and not spill water everywhere.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so get any of those kits, and you've got a place to plug the sensors in. The sensors are what, like $30?
Yeah, they're
I think they're
$25.
$30.
They're 25.
25
they're
and
25, and then if you want a magnet with it, they're 35.
Yep, exactly. All right, continue.
So we don't have any sensors, so I'm going to click on skip. And then this is for the top. This is for the wastewater. I'm going to click on that and skip. And basically, you know, it's you would just hit feed C, and it's going to run this. And that's it. I'm not going to hit send because I might want to have another nog shot here in a little bit.
Okay.
We'll see.
So let me give you a couple questions here because a couple of them are really good.
Good.
So Nancy McCrae, who comes on all of our live streams. Thank you for joining us, Nancy. Make sure you share it. I know you do. Could I just use this functionality to share volume between the main tank and the frag tank? Absolutely.
Oh,
what a
wow.
cool idea.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Right? So you could so the frag tank, right, is where
Right.
you want a lot of growth. Okay, so you want food absorption. So maybe you could actually do a heavy feeding in the frag tank,
right?
And then do a 10-gallon water change between your frag tank to your main tank,
and get some of that
food into the main tank.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Yeah, great idea. I love our control freaks.
Yeah, I know.
They just always find, and the manual water change task would work perfectly for that, Nancy.
Okay, let's see. Somebody else asked, can I run it into a drain? I think that's
No
Neil
problem.
Thomas. Not
No
a problem,
problem.
of course. Run it into the drain. Let's see here. Let's see. Another good question. Hey, Dave Hammondtree. Oh, so we got Dave Hammondtree, the king of Reef to Reef. He's on the live stream now again. He likes to chime in. Thanks for joining us. Hey, and Dave, you can go ahead and share this out on Reef to Reef. We won't complain. You know, go ahead and put it in our forum and others. I know you do that for me. I love you, Dave. Let's see. Let's see if there's another good question. Wonder how the Nios food would work. I don't think they require refrigeration. I don't even know about that food.
I don't know. The cool thing about the liquid feeding is, you know, you want to clean the line. You don't want the food to stay in the line for refrigerated food, right? So if you take like a little dorm fridge or even a wine chiller from, you know, Sharper Image or something from like that, drill a hole in it, run the lines there, and go from there. I even have one control freak out there that actually has a stir underneath his DVRs, right?
Cool.
And so 20 minutes before he feeds, he actually starts stirring the bottle.
So it all gets mixed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thought myself, I haven't done any of these, but I've thought of little kooky things to do also because I try to cook up ways that, you know,
be a control freak.
Yeah, to be a control freak.
Right.
I thought, you know, I mean, you know, if you can afford it, right, you actually feed with the one, and the other one, you actually recirculate the tank water through the line with a T up near the other dose.
Yeah.
So you basically can flush the line with a second dose, and it just circulates the water from your tank through that one to clear it out.
You could do that, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a little spendy because you're using 2 to do 1, but
Right.
now you know, especially if you had a long run, right, from the refrigerator into the tank, you wouldn't get stuff, stuck in that line.
When you do liquid auto feedings like this, you do have to replace those dose lines because they're going to get fouled.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And eventually, they just get so fouled that they're going to not be pushing as much volume through them and all that sorts of stuff.
Definitely more maintenance when you do food, for sure. But line flush is something that could be done. All right, let's see here. Other questions. Let's see, what do we have here? Optical sensors come with a silicone. Russ is online. The Russ Michel is online, giving his sage advice. They have silicone gaskets, so when you do put them into a vessel, so if you have a water change vessel, like a water storage vessel, like some people do, you can drill a hole. I'm sure Russ will tell us what the hole size should be. I can't remember. I think it's 9/16, but don't quote me on that.
I don't know.
But Russ is definitely the guy, and I'll give a plug for Russ because he likes to hear a plug for the community forum. That's the place to go out to and ask about that stuff. I'll give the plug also for, we have the official Neptune Systems user group out on Facebook. So you can go out there. There's lots of people out there that'll help you as well. Okay. Let's see. Anything else interesting?
Questions about?
Oh, well, there's this one, which is a pretty common one. If I'm using a dose for daily auto water change, can I use the same pump to replace salt water from the same reservoir to replace water I took out from my system for maintenance? Don't exactly understand what you're trying to do there, but I mean, it is only connected to the one reservoir. So, unless you're moving the tube from one to another.
Yeah, there'd have to be some manual intervention there, I would think. Maybe I don't understand the question.
It's
entirely.
possible. Let's see, let's go back up here. Let's see. Will the new Apex be able to use the old EB8? Of course, we talked about that.
Go over to the full screen.
Let's see. We got to go full screen. Thank you, Paul. There, we're back on full screen. Okay, what else, Paul? What else do we want to impart upon people? How about the logging of parameters, manual logging of parameters? It's definitely something we all have to, hopefully, with Trident coming along, we're not going to be logging those parameters manually.
I haven't been logging parameters as often.
Paul at the office has one of the production units that we're running through tests right now.
Pretty cool.
It's definitely cool. I don't have one at home yet.
I actually have 2 Tridents on my tank, Terrence.
2, yes, yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't mean to gloat or anything.
I know. But we're not letting any of the production stuff out of the building right now yet. And believe it or not, that even includes me. Engineering's got a lockdown on it.
But it's coming along really well.
It's awesome.
We're very excited about it.
But if you need to manually log parameters, show them how to do that, Paul. Show them how to do a manual parameter log, and then if you can, do you know how to do a graph to see those things on the graph?
I think I'll probably. Have you logged recently on your tank? You've been logging anything? See, I haven't logged really recently either.
So
we won't be able to show the graph.
Okay.
But I can show the concept of the graph, right? So let me turn on my little.
So let's say nitrates.
Right. So let's say I took a nitrate measurement. You'll see down here, right? I have the log measurements area, and I can click on NO3. Okay, and I can choose my test kit.
So we have all the popular test kits in here, and if you're anything like me, I always lose the paper that goes with the test kit.
Always, yeah. So let's say you're using the NIOS nitrate. Okay. We got the color there that's already set up for you, so you can hold that in. Granted, every monitor may be a little different.
But it's a gradation of color, so you can kind of tell where it is on the scale.
So I can select any of these and choose there, and then let's say I have a really high reading and be like accidentally
you can put the
dump
notes
food into the tank. You can make a note to it too, so you can remember why that is. All
this will be really cool. Also, not here, but on the notes, we do have a notes function too. When you especially even when you start using the Trident, if you want, if you're manually dosing something like magnesium, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's say you run 2-part, but magnesium you're manually dosing. You come in, log your magnesium on here, and you write that note, and it puts the note down. So that's really cool.
Exactly. And you choose your reading too. You actually when you're reading with like the Saliford or something like that, you can actually just put the amount left in the syringe there, and it will.
So no paper charts that you're looking for the PDF online, none of that.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes that a little bit easier. Include a comment. We can click OK. And then if I had many of these, right, they would be spread out over a period of weeks, months, and yada yada, and I can see where exactly that's trending. If I took multiple measurements, I could then compare those to different measurements over time. So.
Cool. One of the things too is we are in beta right now with a new version of, or a new rollout of Apex Fusion with some cool UI changes, some things that they're geeky, they're in the back end, but they definitely make the interface much snappier. It's actually a little bit more legible on mobile devices like iOS.
It scales better.
The graphs are way better.
The graphs load much faster. The graphs are much more concise. A lot of work went into that. You know, our engineering team worked so hard.
Oh yeah,
I mean, those guys just
nonstop.
You know, they eat and breathe this stuff.
There's a lot of work that goes into all of this technology.
You know what you see? Oh look, they did some new graphs and have some couple new icons. What they were actually redoing the entire back end to do that.
Correct.
Right. And that's been running in our beta group for a little while now. I think it's getting ready for production.
It's the back end, front end, though, right? It's the front end on the back end.
Yeah, something like that. So that's running on our beta Fusion server, which our NSI team is part of, and you know, we should expect to see that in production. They may actually do another push or two in beta before they roll it out to production, so we can all see it. But I'm pretty excited what the kind of UI improvements they've made.
Oh, and here's a good question. Any chance of adding the ability to add Alexa skills so I can see Fusion on my Echo Show? So visually, no. It's not something we've got on the short list right now, only because the number of people who run an Echo Show is really, well, run an Echo Show and who run an Apex is very, very small.
Yes.
But Echo, the regular Echo Dot and all the other Echo products all work with our new Alexa integration, and hopefully soon the Google Home stuff too.
I hear that's coming along really well.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I was talking with the engineer kind of responsible for that on, what, Monday or Tuesday, and it all works very similar. It's like these guys kind of thought together of, hey, let's just make this all work.
So it's going to be
Alexa
pretty clean.
and Google Home really aren't that much different in terms of an engineering aspect. So it's coming along pretty well.
So that's fun. Obviously, we got people tried it. Yeah, I got
we
that.
We know, guys. We know. Trust us. We
know.
We know. We're working really hard, and it's.
How about we're 3 minutes over. Let's go to like 11:10. Okay. What can we talk about? Obviously, you guys, we got 10% off. I've got the thing again for you guys that joined late. 10% off everything, okay?
Dun, dun.
And that's another camera. You can see some of the reflections actually in my room of, actually that's the Walt Disney there, like in the middle right.
Oh, is that?
People were asking about it, yeah. It's a horrible picture right now because the white balance is off on that.
Go put your polyp lens on there.
Yeah, if I had it handy, I probably would.
I actually tried to do that the other day on my Mac. It didn't work too well.
No, didn't work that great? Okay. Well, I love that thing. But anyway, so let's just talk about fish and corals. If you guys have any fish and corals questions, I was telling them about that Walt Disney frag that you got the big piece, and then I got the little 1 or 2 polyp, like I'm going to throw it away frag, and grew it out. That was definitely fun. Paul has an SPS tank in the office. We've talked a little bit about my stuff. So Paul, somebody asked me the other day, here's the first question somebody asked. They said, what coral don't you have in your tank right now that you're just really jonesing to get?
Oh, wow. See, I'm not really so much into the names of things.
Okay,
right?
that's fine.
I mean, I have a Walt Disney in there.
Right.
I have this Vin. Apparently, it's a blue-white SPS.
It's an SPS, yeah.
I love it. Right.
I need to get a piece of that too. Yeah.
I have a Spainbow that doesn't look like a Spainbow anymore.
Right.
But I have some really nice mushrooms. I don't have any bounce. I think the bounces are kind of.
So you got to pick a coral, okay? I had to pick one. You probably didn't hear the live stream, but I'll tell you what it is after the fact.
I don't have any home wrecker yet.
Okay, home wrecker is definitely a solid choice.
Yes.
There's no doubt. What is it? Passion? Something that one too? Something passion?
Yeah, I just
all three of those those two and Walt Disney are in the same tenuous kind of color.
Yeah. And tenuouses do very well in my tank. Terrence's tank obviously does very well. My Walt Disney's coming along pretty well.
It looks great. The color on it's really good.
A lot of yellow, a little bit of green, a little bit of purple. So I'm really happy with that one.
The one I told them was Purple Monster.
Oh yeah, the classic.
It's a classic, and it is one of those corals that just takes forever to grow. It's like it makes you into a patient reef keeper because you just keep going and looking at it, see if it's growing, and it just grows so slow, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful coral.
I've been doing this for a while, you know, and just it's funny that the story of that coral is so funny. You know, it was everywhere, and then it was nowhere.
And it was nowhere. Yeah.
You know, and
well, because it is very sensitive. It is really hard coral. I mean, it grows really well in some people's tanks, and when I say really well, I mean like a millimeter, you know, every couple of months. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those corals. Yeah, I mean, definitely we love our tanks. Paul's SPS tank is really coming along well. You know, Paul doesn't have nearby big jugs of water to do water changes like I do.
No.
But Paul is a man of routine.
Yes. So every 2 weeks or so, I do about a 30% water change in that tank, and I just find that for me, this has been the least hassle tank I've ever had. I roll out my brutes, you know, do the water change, and maybe it takes me 20 minutes or so. It's all said and done. I match everything perfectly, you know, with my Apex salinity probe. You know, I make sure that I have two salinity probes. They match exactly right. I check it with a refractometer. You know, temperature. I have a temperature control that the heater make sure the water is the same temperature. It happens, you know, really quick. You know, the big thing that, you know, the danger in doing large water changes is that you're replacing water that is not similar to the water that you
And we're talking about his tank too is 40 gallons. For me, it makes no difference. I go do 100 gallons into this. It really doesn't make a big difference if I'm doing 10 or 15% in this gigantic tank.
Right, but for me, right,
for sure,
with 40 gallons, I have to make sure that water is exactly the same.
Right.
I don't really have any nitrate. I can't feed enough. Everyone teases me at the office that I don't feed my fish enough, and they're always hungry. They are.
But the key, I mean, and Paul has got a tank. I really love watching Paul's tank come along because, you know, in the smaller aquariums, people always ask, you know, first of all, do you need an Apex on a smaller aquarium? Also, people often want to have one of these really great, like baller level tanks in a small size. And to me, I mean, the things that really make it happen, that are happening in Paul's tank, number one, having the Apex on there, you know, allows him to have the stability.
Oh, yeah.
And to catch things when they start to go a little bit awry. So that's really, really important. The stability in all of those parameters in such a small water volume. The second thing is the lighting. So you have to have really good lighting. Paul has an XR30 Gen 4, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I might have lifted that off our trade show palette.
Our trade show stuff.
Where'd the Gen 4 go?
And then he got
and
made a huge difference, by the way, getting that diffuser on that.
So
he's got great light. Flow is super important. I mean, you know, the biggest problem to run the SPS, in my opinion, in these small tanks is they just don't have enough flow.
Yeah.
And it's got to be almost like a washing machine at times in there to mix up the detritus, to get it over into your filtration, to keep that water clean, and then to respirate and feed the corals.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing that this tank is different than all other tanks I've been done. I've been doing this since about 2005, 2006 or so, and you know, love every second of it. I went with I didn't go bare bottom. But you know, I did that calcium reactor media, and for me, that for me has been the answer here, because I used live rock, I used real reef rock, right, and I used a lot of branch and shelf, so it wasn't very porous, right, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity for a bacteria buildup.
This is a key point for people with these bare bottom tanks that I think they miss.
And so I opted to actually go for calcium reactor media as my substrate, and it's about 1.5 inches thick throughout the tank. But what that allows is that's a very porous media, right, which allows for a lot of bacteria to grow in there. So I have a huge bacterial
There's a lot of
load.
surface area, even on just outside.
The pods in that tank, Terrence, are insane.
Yeah.
I put maybe 2 bottles from Algae Barn, 2 bottles of their their multi-factor piece. I add Fido every now and then, and none of the fish can get down into those little nooks and crevices, right? So I just have pods.
So whereas some people do that with live rock or sand and other things in their sump, right? You have like a pristine sump that doesn't have a refugium or anything. So his tank has to be his refugium.
Yeah, yeah. In my refugium, I have, or not my refugium, my sump, I have a lot of sponge growth, thanks to you, Terrence. Brought in a couple rocks for me. I put those rocks in there, and my entire sump and skimmer area is just filled with sponge growth.
Oh, that's great.
You know, feather dusters, sponge growth.
Yeah, the feather dusters and stuff are really good. Somebody wrote Reborn, ? Yeah, that's from Two Little Fishies. It's actually calcium reactor media that you can buy, and it's basically broken up dead coral.
Yeah.
That's what I use in my calcium reactor.
And you just want to make sure you rinse that really well before you put it in your tank. You're going to have a lot of kind of silicates and stuff like that. So rinse it really well before you put it in the tank, and you just cycle it like you do anything. And you know, there's a saying in this hobby, and I firmly believe this: nothing good ever happens fast in a reef tank, right? patience, patience, patience.
The other thing too
right?
is keep your hands out of your tank. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one of the things that I am very, very staunch believer in. Is there's lots of stuff to play with in your tank, but if you do, every time you put your hands in your tank, you're introducing pollutants. No matter how much you think that you're not, you are. Okay, so you take a risk. Nothing may happen or something may happen. And then every time you put your hand in your tank, you risk knocking something over and disturbing the natural order of everything in your tank, right? Stirring areas of the sand that you really shouldn't be stirring, breaking off corals that are going to make you upset, and then you're going to start to try to put other things together.
It's, play with the outside of your aquarium,
Yeah.
and that's what your apex is for,
Yeah.
right? The apex is an extension of you inside your aquarium and you messing with that environment, but try to keep your hands out as much as possible. When corals fight, let them fight.
Yeah, that's what I do here. I mean,
and when they win, they win.
And yeah, it's some corals going to win. I've got actually a blue tip green slimer up here that a couple of my other corals are starting to encircle the base of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, oh, it might really start to do something bad for that. And when it does, I'll break off the top of it and plant it somewhere else. So it's definitely keep your hands out of the tank. I let stuff drop, and it'll stay there until it's maybe 2 weeks, and I go, today's a day.
So Nancy, you asked how difficult is it to add calcium reactor media to an existing setup? Again, this kind of this all goes with.
If you're bare bottom, it's probably pretty easy.
Bare bottom, you'll find you can cycle in that reborn slowly, okay, or the calcium reactor media, any calcium
But
reactor
replacing
media.
like all my sand with reborn
Wouldn't do
media, no, that will disrupt your whole entire tank.
Yeah. If you're going to do that, make sure you take everything out, recycle the tank, and then.
I mean, I guess probably if you did like 3% of the tank at a time every week or two or something like that, you took it out and watched what happened in your tank, maybe, but I'm not advocating it, because once you get your tank into its right mode of running, you don't want to change how you're doing things very much at all. Doesn't matter what it is that you're doing.
And I mean, I had to give up things. I don't get my sand sifters.
Right.
I don't get those. I do get my sand gobies because underneath all my main rocks that hit the ground, I put little piles of sand.
Cool.
So they can actually go underneath and all that stuff. So.
Well, I hope you guys like us talking about tank stuff too, because for me, it gets a little bit boring just to talk about the apex stuff.
Yeah.
And really the success that we have is because of the apex, and if people don't get that out of our passion for the hobby, then I mean, what can we say?
Yeah, in the video that Terrence is going to post up, I have my tank in the background so you guys can kind of see what's going on with that.
Yep, definitely. Okay, I think we're going to probably shut this down in a minute. Maybe if I see an interesting question, I'll take that. I love Purple Monster, Garf Bonsai, great coral. Great coral, Garf Bonsai, oldie but a goodie.
I'll take a frag of that.
Yeah, there's actually one, what is it, up in Washington State, they have a big one called Quad Color. That a couple of the guys have. I think Milov has it and a couple of others. Dwayne is the one who pushed it out. Mine fell into the abyss on my tank. I have to get another one. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I think we're good. I think we've taken enough questions. I really appreciate you guys joining us for Black Friday. Paul, thank you for coming by here, sharing a little bit of nog. We'll hit off another one here once we go off camera. And thank you guys for being customers. Definitely get out there if you're planning on buying something for Black Friday. I strongly encourage that you do not wait, because when they're gone, they're gone. Most of these retailers, they're not going to, especially in local fish stores, they're definitely not going to extend anything and wait for new product to come in. Online guys, they're not going to be doing that either. They're going to ship what they've got, and then basically Black Friday's over for them. So I would not put the delay in. Start working on the significant other right now. Get those orders in, and have a great holiday weekend with the family. That's what we're going to do. I know that's what Paul's going to go do after this. I've got the family here is going to come back from their Black Friday shopping. We're going to have a great holiday weekend. And you'll see me again tomorrow when we're going to do a local fish store on site. I'll publish out on Facebook what the time is on that, because I can't remember off the top of my head.
You said 1.
1 o'clock
I
Pacific? Oh, no, so we're East Coast.
Eastern.
So 1 o'clock Eastern
10
time.
a.m., same time.
Oh, okay, so same time as this one.
Yep.
We're going to be out at a store on the East Coast with Tom. And then on Sunday, we're going to do the same kind of thing here locally in San Jose at Neptune Aquatics. And it'd be a really fun time to see what's going on out these local fish stores. So thank you so much for joining us on Black Friday, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.
Guys. Thanks.